Just around the corner, there's a rainbow in the sky. So let's have another cup of coffee, and let's have another piece of pie. Trouble's just a bubble, and the clouds will soon roll by. So let's have another cup of coffee, and let's have another piece of pie. Let a smile be your...
That is not the official coffee party song. It's something I dug up. But anyway, it's a neat little song. It kind of characterizes the coffee party because it's mellow. It looks forward to a brighter future. That kind of works, eh, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah. Mike Davis is here. Can I call you the founder of the coffee party in this area?
Well, of the local chapter.
The local chapter, yeah. Nationally speaking, though, thousands and thousands of members all across the country.
Right. They continue, actually, to have growth. And we have meetings online and over the phone to try to figure out better ways to do that and to make our presence known out there.
I would think with all the stuff that's going on in various state governments and in Washington that the growth would be phenomenal for people looking for rational solutions and civil discussion.
It really is, and more what you're seeing is the groups that have already been in existence or are addressing different individual issues are beginning to merge together. And it's becoming more of like part of an umbrella organization.
Good.
That's really what our event coming up is about, is the desire to do that.
So let's talk about that, because that's why you're here.
Yeah, it's the American Dream House meeting. Basically, a bunch of us will be meeting Saturday at noon at Trinity Lutheran Church here in Alton. That's at the corner of Central and Blair. And this is the American Dream movement was started by Van Jones, late of the Obama administration, who is basically just upset with the general tack that our nation is taking economically, politically, all the different directions. The working class and the poor are getting worse, and the rich are getting richer. And that just doesn't seem right. It does not seem right.
No, it doesn't. But Mike and I were talking off air, and if you begin looking at statistics in terms of productivity increases and wage increases, well, the productivity increase is way up over the last 20-plus years, but the wage increase is not.
And yet we constantly hear how business needs to be nurtured like a hothouse flower and given every preference, because otherwise we'll start losing jobs. And yet we're losing jobs at an incredible rate.
Yes.
And very often from companies that pay little to nothing in taxes.
Well,
and yet use the same infrastructure, use all the benefits of the American society, including its markets and
the handouts from corporate welfare, too. Mm-hmm. They don't miss any chances on that. The same with tax loopholes, because they can hire the lobbyist and on and on. And the coffee party, though, doesn't advocate any particular position. It's neither Republican nor Democrat. It's let's get together and calmly, civilly discuss and look at these things.
That's exactly correct. The initial impetus, as you recall, was because there were another party was basically making verbal assaults on people, and there were these town halls where people were basically going from town hall to town hall to town hall, not letting local people participate, and shouting the same questions at the person holding the town hall over and over and over again to monopolize the discussion. We are in favor of letting everybody have a fair voice. Nobody dominates. We have no set agenda other than we are opposed to big money in politics.
Yes.
That's, we feel, is fair and goes to the free speech issue. We don't think that dollar bills have the same right to speak as you and I do.
Hear, 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 hear. But every time we get something going on limitations, and after the Supreme Court decision, Citizens United, Congress is going to have to work very hard, and I don't think Congress has the will to work that hard to find a way to change campaign financing.
Not currently. However, you've seen amazing things. If you read enough history, you see that in the past, if you get a large enough grassroots movement going, you can make even an opposition Congress. For instance, many of the EPA things were passed when Richard Nixon was president.
Yes.
And the reason was there was such an uprising. You know, rivers had been catching on fire. things like that, and the people were just tired of it. And so along came this Earth First movement, those kinds of things, and it was just so popular that politicians were scared not to address these issues. And that's the kind of thing you almost have to do. Both FDR and Barack Obama have said whenever we try to get them, when I say we, I mean people wanting to change things, that whenever you try to get them to do a particular thing, make me do it. And what they're referring to is if there's not the popular call, then they're not going to be able to push it through the Congress. But if there is the popular call, it's going to be a breeze getting it through Congress.
As long as enough of us get upset and lean on our individual members of Congress and let them know that the will of the people is to have cleaner air, cleaner water, better wages, whatever the issue may be.
Exactly. And cleaner elections, too.
Yes.
That might be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real issue. They asked Jimmy Carter one time, who goes overseas and oversees elections as part of his work, and why don't you do that for the U.S.? There's been several questions about our elections here, and he basically said, well, I have certain minimum standards, and the U.S. doesn't meet them. Which is incredible, but
from a former president of the United States at that.
Yes.
But yeah, but he always did call it like he's
Yes.
he's quite a character. What's going to happen at noon Saturday at Trinity Lutheran and the Van Jones get together?
Well, we've been talking here about the kinds of things that we'd like to see accomplished, but none of this can happen until we start getting together and making plans. I mean, even Van Jones, who kind of got this moving, has said he doesn't have any magic answers. There's no silver bullets out there. So if we're waiting for some great man or great leader to come along and give us all the answers, that's not going to happen. We have to organize at the grassroots and start figuring out things for ourselves. And we're open to all ideas, all suggestions. In fact, if you go to rebuildthedream.com, they want input. They want your ideas. They want to know how you think it should be fixed.
In fact, that's been on the net for a while, not a long while, and I saw something on Message the other day. Thousands of ideas, thousands of people have gone to that site and made recommendations and have ideas for let's do something different in this country for the betterment of all of us.
That's right. That's right. And then obviously whenever you get that many, some of them may be a little out there or whatever.
Well,
but
you take 1,000 people, you got outliers in both directions, of course.
But that's part of brainstorming. When you're trying to brainstorm a solution to a problem, you don't reject anything initially. You take a look at all of them. Sometimes the ones that you initially think are so outrageous turn out to be darn good ideas.
You never know what's going to work, and to reject something out of hand is
not a good idea.
Short-sighted as can be.
Yep.
So, but the gathering at noon, basically people are just invited to offer their ideas?
We'll be discussing that. We'll be talking about what we think the next steps should be, what should happen. And it's basically a simple start, and it's to get the grassroots action moving. So if you're not happy with how the direction our country is taking, how things are going, I don't care if you lean to the right, you lean to the left, whatever. Maybe you vote for the Republicans, maybe you vote for the Democrats, maybe you vote independent. You know, maybe you're a Ross Perot fan or whatever. But you know, it's still a good idea, and talk with other citizens sanely about possible solutions.
That's pretty. Are you going to be the moderator of this? Well, I mean, somebody's got to say you're next to speak and all that.
I will, but I prefer facilitator.
Facilitator,
you know,
sure.
Because moderator implies a certain amount of control.
You might dampen down something or whatever,
yes.
Right? This is just facilitating the conversation.
I want to make sure everybody gets a fair chance to speak. When you get passionate people, and I've been guilty of this in the past myself, that's why I can recognize it when I see it, want to keep talking about an idea that they feel is very important to them. But sometimes this can step on, you know, the other people who also want a few minutes to talk about their idea.
Hear, hear.
So just to prevent monopolization of the discussion, I will facilitate. But as long as it's proceeding in an orderly fashion and that's not necessary, I step back and let it happen.
Hear, hear. Now, the coffee coffee party locally, does it have a membership as such?
You know, it's an interesting thing. We have a Facebook page that you can like, and I take that as being that you do like it. You know, that's the closest thing we have to a membership. There's no fees. There's no dues. They have just started on the national level. If you want to be a founding member of the Coffee Party, you can now go to the main website and make a small contribution. And I think it's less than $20 or around $20, $25. And you can be an official founder of the Coffee Party. free. Even in an organization that's wanting to be grassroots, there are some bills to pay.
Well, of course.
And especially if you want to take action. For instance, if you ever want to do a radio spot, if you want to do a TV ad, whatever.
Take an ad in the paper, whatever.
Yeah.
Even writing a letter to the newspaper is going to cost you the 44 cents.